In February 2012, the United West took an investigative team to Israel to evaluate the national security and counterterrorism policies, practices, procedures of the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, the National Police, and the Border Patrol. And our host was retired National Policeman Marc Khalberg, who's a counterterrorism expert, and some of his policies have been implemented into Israeli defense procedures. We want you to see Marc Kahlberg's explanation to us at some key security issues. Right now, the country is talking about the security of Israel and its relationship to its national security partner, the United States. We want to take you on our trip very quickly to the town of Ramallah, which is a Palestinian town, and we're going to take you to the checkpoint in Israel, in the Jerusalem area, and just want you to listen to the IDF soldiers. He talks about the difficulty that Israel has in terms of maintaining the peace and respect for human beings, but protecting Israeli and Palestinian citizens from suicide bombers. Take a look at this.
So we're here at the Calandia Crossing, which is one of the many crossings that exist between what's past the Green Line, the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, an area with many names, and the Israeli home front. The Calandia Crossing, more specifically, is what connects the city of Ramallah, which sits alongside Jerusalem, just on its north. And this is a crossing where thousands upon thousands of vehicles travel through each and every single day. And not only vehicles, but we also have pedestrian traffic, with many Palestinians having permits to be in Israel, be it work visas for either blue or white collared work. It could be student permits, it can be medical permits, it can also be permits for family visits, and there are many, many reasons for permits. But one of the things that we have to stress is that the crossings is a part of the system of the security fence, which came about in around 2003, 2004, as a result of the Second Intifada, a wave of violence and terrorism that basically went out of control. Just a decade ago in 2002, hundreds of Israelis died as a result of a terror attack during the peak of that Intifada. And the security fence and the crossings are a result of that. It's based on...
Well, that means sniper fire from those buildings.
Look, sniper fire once was a threat, which is why it's a wall and not a fence.
People in the States have absolutely no idea what's going on here. I mean, we're pretty aware, the United West, of Israel's security necessity, but to see this thing in operation, to see just over those fences people that want to kill Jews and everyone else, and to see how these guys professionally and meticulously handle in a very humane manner the transport of people, the movement of people, is just a first-class professionalism for people that have bullseyes drawn all over them. Pretty amazing stuff. The universities back in the States, United States, they have replicas of that wall right there and call it apartheid.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think that it shows a colossal misunderstanding of the situation. I think I've spoken to reporters who were inside of South Africa during apartheid, and their thoughts on it were just that it was ridiculous. No matter how critical the reporter is, I think it's very clear that when we're building roads inside of Judea and Samaria to help the local population, when we're creating a fence that has gates in it, when we give out permits, when our medical service, when our emergency services coordinate together with the Red Crescent in order to provide medical services, when people can come out almost whenever they want, as long as it's coordinated. There's businessman permits, there are VIP permits. It's not too difficult to move back and forth. And if you walk around inside the streets of Israel, you'll see many Palestinian workers who commute daily. And I think that it shows a colossal misunderstanding of the security risks. Because this is all about balancing the needs of Israeli civilians for security, which is their God-given right. And it's a right that every civilian has to live in peace without bombs exploding in their schools and on their buses.
I just noticed that.
A surveillance fence, electronic fence behind us. If you come around this way, concertina wire to keep people from crawling up there, and that concrete wall is because those homes over here, go over here, look real quickly, those homes were firing guns at the cars that were going over here on this road. Look at this. See this car right here? Those cars going into the checkpoint, when they were driving by this main road in Netanya, those homes over there were shooting the cars and trying to kill the Israelis that were driving by. So they put a concrete wall up to stop people from getting shot. Unbelievable.
Wait. Yep. Take the last second.
Okay.
From the Jerusalem area, you can't understand national security for Israel unless you go right here. And right here is the border at Gaza. We're in Sderot overlooking the Gaza Strip. And listen to Marc as he explains some of the difficulties in keeping peace and keeping rockets from flying over Israelis' heads out of the Gaza Strip, landing into Sderot.
Alan West came here with a congressional group late last year, and there was eight missiles fired. They normally wouldn't land. They wouldn't land around where we are, as close as we are. They'll come over our heads into the village that you're gonna. It's a little kibbutz that you're gonna go past now, and into these open areas, or Sderot, which is just behind us, and other areas. This is a kibbutz on your left. This is people live here. These people suffer quite a lot. They are hit quite frequently.
Israel's water authority, called Makorot, is put into and stored in these big facilities like this. There are several of them around Gaza. They've increased the number of them around Gaza because this is the water that we supply to Gaza.
Why?
Why? So that they can survive and try and kill us because we are too humane, that's why. But like we were discussing, this is not what the Western press wishes to depict. Geographically, it's the shortest distance.
What I just want to explain to you is that the motivation for the terrorists here in Gaza to attack Israel all the time is constant. It's a daily thing. We have had, as I said before, over 10,000 Qassam and Grad and other missiles that have come into Israel since the end of the disengagement in 2005. I served here in the first Intifada inside Gaza. I know, obviously, Gaza's expanded a little bit and it's grown, but I served inside Gaza City. I know Gaza very, very well. To close a circle at the disengagement, where we came on the road in towards the area's checkpoint, I was the Israeli police spokesman in taking out Jewish people from their homes and putting them into Nitzanim, where you saw on the way here, in order to make peace. By our government taking the people out, the only intention was that if we took people out of our homes, then disengaged from Gaza as such, not left a military or police or civilian presence in Gaza, we would maybe have peace. Quite the opposite has happened. 10,000 missiles, continuous terror attacks, digging of tunnels under the fence, coming in, attacking little bases, little outposts that you can see here, and the capture of Gilad Shalit 5 years ago. Coming through a tunnel under the fence, they hit a tank that was just protecting the borders, and they came in and they killed 2 other soldiers, and they kidnapped Gilad Shalit, who's now returned. What did we do in return? We returned 1,100 terrorists back to carry on their battle against us. So the whole concept of the disengagement from Gaza was to create some sort of stability in the region. Okay, Arik Sharon was then the Prime Minister, and his concept and his idea was to take our troops out, take everybody out of an area that we actually captured and conquered because there was war against Israel. So we went in, stopped the war, had control of an area like any country. I mean, if you know, the British went to the Falklands, they took over the Falklands, it belongs to them, and they won a war. No one started playing games and kicked them out after it. History hasn't had a country that's won a battle and returned their land afterwards that they've won. Here we've given back, and in the West Bank we've given back. We've given the Sinai back, so we've actually becoming like a bottleneck. And anybody who says we need to go back to the 67 borders is making a strategical mistake, because you cannot bring these people closer. If these houses were closer to here, we would have constant sniper fire. We wouldn't be able to stand here on Israeli sovereign territory. There'd be no way. They'd be firing sniper lines at us. So this is a distance that sort of prevents it. But the Qassam missiles, just this weekend again, there were Qassam missiles fired at Israel. In fact, almost on a daily basis. The whole concept here of Gaza, you know, if they wanted peace, they would have had many opportunities to make peace. You can see the shore. Maybe it's not a great day, but I can tell you that the beach strip, it's a beautiful, one of the most beautiful coastal areas in the world on the Mediterranean. And instead of them building hotels and creating tourism and doing good things, all they're interested is in firing missiles and killing Jews. That's all they're interested in. We only left our synagogues and then they demolished them.
was the well-known sad story in Israeli history, where there was a disengagement where Jews were dragging Jews out of their homes for peace, going to that extent, to taking people who have lived here out of their homes with the hope of peace. And that was Gush Katif right over there. If you can see where those fields are, there were homes there, Mark?
There were homes. After the disengagement, we went in, and I will show you graphic material, hopefully today or tomorrow. We actually went in with bulldozers and we demolished all of our homes. What we didn't demolish were our synagogues. Each settlement that was in here, each village that was in here in the Gush Katif area had its own synagogue, and we didn't demolish our synagogues. But the moment we left, and I was one of the very last people to leave Gaza from Israel, being the spokesman and being part of the detail to leave, I really closed the fence on Gaza personally, physically, if you try and count. And the very next day they came in, the Palestinians, and they destroyed our synagogues. So it's
literally right there, half a mile away.
Right out here, exactly. In fact, on a road, just this road behind the trees, is where they fired a missile at a school bus, a yellow school bus. Now the whole world knows that a school bus is yellow. So they took a rocket and they fired a rocket at a school bus. I think you know about that incident. So, you know, their motivation is very high to carry on with their terror.
Okay, so after the disengagement, where everything was taken out, Jewish citizens, police,
everybody, everything,
whatever the services were that were there.
Yeah.
With a hope, was there really a hope of peace on the side of Israel?
There sure was. I mean, it was done for peace. It was done to make peace. It was done to stop peace. And what happened after that, the Hamas came in and they killed their own. They started shooting and killing the PLO, the Fatah people.
They did a putsch.
They did a putsch. It was exactly a putsch. I have video material that I can show today because it's open on the internet of the Hamas actually laying people down, PLO, Fatah people, laying them down on the ground and shooting them in the back, and not just shooting them once, coming back to make sure they were killed and shooting them again. And this is what they did to their own. You know, so the motivation to kill us is just that much higher.
When? This was what, 2006?
This was 2005. 2006.
And how long before Israel realized we ain't getting peace with the Gaza Strip?
Well, I think our first missile started coming in 2006. So we left here in July 2005. And in 2006 the missile started. Are we going to cut? That was the bomb squad. If we don't go there, we're not getting into the police station.
Okay, let's go.
That was good. We got some good stuff. That was good.
It's just everything is based around security. Everybody lives around security here. So I have a saying that you know, the media throughout the world likes to say that, you know, Israel sort of made Gaza a big jail, a big prison by fencing them in. Well, it's quite the opposite. We've actually made ourselves a homemade jail because we fenced ourselves in.